From the £10,000 we can just dip into at the discretion of the clerk. It's our decision as full parish council to do that. So I don't think the process will be any quicker if we did that. But anyway,
so we're saying every time there's an incident, something goes wrong, it's going to take 12 months to get it done? Because that's what's been described.
No, I've not heard anybody saying that. I don't think anybody saying that.
For the last report.
The swing, we're not in our parts, so we have the swing and the resetting has been done. The resetting of the base was yellow, so it wasn't a red flag, which is why it stayed in place. But we've been waiting for parts of the basket swing itself, so we've been missing some bits. So it hasn't been a delay because of financial. It's been a supply issue on the basket side of it. I don't know if that helps. I do see your point of emotion. I'm just here, obviously, as clerk to give all the information.
Okay, I think we've all got the. I think you've made the proposal clear. We've got a proposal. We've got a second for this. Andy Sherrod. We're going to wait for Nathan to come back.
Chair, can I just flag I have to go at 7:15? I'm picking my daughter up.
Right.
So I have to leave in like 10 minutes.
That's the swing reset.
The actual swing itself, yeah. The seesaw and swing have been reset. It's just the parts on the basket of the swing which we're hoping to get this week. But I appreciate you wouldn't have known that when you just said it. That's why I just thought, thanks for that.
So we've got a proposer and a second for the motion requested from Councillor Ring. Have a show of hands of all those in favour. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Against? 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, we've got a tie. I've got no casting vote, so 5 in favour. So that's carried. That's carried. Okay. Second proposal is from Councillor Andy Sherrod with consideration of part of the 2025-26 budget proposal process that provision is made to purchase equipment to enable parish council meetings to be live streamed and video recorded. Doing this will enable greater engagement with residents of the village, as they will be able to attend meetings virtually and be able to take part in the open questions section at the beginning of the meeting. Using this equipment, the parish council will have control over the recordings and be able to publish them with links on the website. Andy?
Well, the interest started, we got an email, the organic company Clearly IT, who specialise in a Logitech provider, but they specialise in working with parish councils. And they started to get a lot more, obviously, doing lockdowns and things. But I just attended a webinar that they did talking about it. And they offer solutions such that we could have equipment, and there's 2 alternative quotes I'll come on to in a minute, so that these meetings could be live streamed, so anybody in the village could watch them while they're actually happening. But also that has the capability that somebody could ask the question in the 15 minutes that you give them without actually having to be here. So I think it'd be great to add more engagement for people. It might hopefully encourage people to actually come along as well if they could see it, but we could do that. And yeah, it would mean that as the parish council we would have a video recording, and obviously, and it has the control so that the closed part, it can be closed off and things like that, so that's not an issue anyway. So it would be under the control of the clerk to do it on the evening, but it's very easy to do. And yeah, I just think it would be really great for engagement in the village.
Could I just ask, are there any costings on it?
Yeah, there's 2 quotations for 2 alternative ones. And I don't know if we need to make a decision on the specifics tonight, but the principle I thought was the important thing at the moment. But it has the other advantage as well, that if we had the equipment and somebody in the village wanted to rent a room with that equipment, and we could charge them extra for somebody to do it, because it's certainly, virtual meetings are important, and there's two different technologies on two different phones. They both have the ability to be very clever in that if you've got this camera, it will point at the person speaking at the time, and similarly the audience, so the audience would see that, and that's what gets recorded, and if it's a remote person talking, it focuses on that. But it'd be really useful, and actually when I put the proposal into Gemma, she mentioned that the church that used the building had actually asked if there was such a facility that they could use. So there's already that, but I would have thought some local businesses might be interested in renting a room with the technology involved in it that they can use and things. So some of the costs might be offset, is all I would say. I'm obviously not promising on that, but there's two different technologies. So just to say in terms of the quote, one is a lot cheaper than the other. The lower price one, which is which comes out at 2,900 in total, a meeting level, is a device that sits in the middle of the table, and it's a 360-degree camera and microphone and things, and that would work, and then we could link it up to a TV on a stand or something for it. The other one is a much more sophisticated setup that would actually probably suit something like the church much better, in that it has, you can have 2 or 3 microphones, and it's a camera set, sort of, I don't know, on stand sort of thing, and it would definitely, but it still follows people around the room. When, having done the webinar, Susie and I actually just attended a one-off thing, which I happily run, but it was interesting. A question and answer where he demonstrated it, and it's very clever. It's all I would say. Because it was only one guy, but he moved around the room and it followed him around while he was talking, because it knows where the sound's coming from and things. But that one is quite a bit more expensive. But I think they've double quoted a little bit, because they've quoted for a TV trolley and for a wall bracket, so it wouldn't be both, it would be one or the other in terms of that. There's a setup cost for the more expensive one, because they come along and sort it all out. They provide support and training for either of them and things. I'm not sure if we need to decide on one or the other tonight. It might be good to see the for people to have more chance to look at the alternatives. But maybe if we could decide on the principle of, do we want to have it as a budget item next year or not, is really my proposal tonight.
Thank you. Do you want to go further?
Exactly right. I've just got a couple of things to add that just might help if everyone starts talking. Andy's aware, if we were to go the higher end, it would need to go out for 3 quotes as part of the financial regulations process, so he's aware of that. This is an agreeing principle in line with the budget. We spoke about that. The other thing is we don't have internet upstairs, so separate, that's what I thought. And again, Andy's aware we spoke, so separate to this proposal, I am looking to put something on a future F&GP in the next couple of months to come through to full council to have boosters up here, because we do have a demand now coming in from user groups for internet access, and our current provider is able to separate the business Wi-Fi to the public Wi-Fi with separate codes and separate usage. It is something that I quoted on when I very first started. It is a few £100. It's not masses of money, but it's just to be clear, the internet's not in place today.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yes, I think it's a noble thing to try and get engagement up around the village. I'm just not convinced there's the need or the want around the village for us to spend £3,000 to £6,000 to do that. I mean, this is only my second meeting, seen the public attendance, we talked from a handful of people. I've seen the YouTube videos of parish councils, the viewing figures in the tens or low hundreds or whatever. I just don't think there is the need there to spend that amount of money to do online engagement. I get the point about the equipment could be used for other purposes as well. Again, I'm just not convinced that the users of this facility are the ones going to be using online video conferencing.
Yeah. No, I get your point. I think partly the other thought to have was actually we tended to get more public engagement when it was on live stream at lockdown. We were getting out.
So my other point was going to be, I mean, there are cheaper alternatives as well. Like you could just have a laptop with like a Teams link, just to see if people get. So I'd much rather try and test the waters with the cheaper option, just to see if there is the want or the need around the village before we allocate thousands of pounds to solve a problem we don't know exists.
We only had, Teams or something, and that's all.
Teams,
Yeah, and people could request a link to channel.
Yeah, it kind of takes Teams into the room. That's the difference with it, I suppose. But yeah, but yeah.
So,
Excuse
oh,
me,
right,
everybody.
thank you.
Excuse me. Right, good night, and I'll see you all in your
Extensions happen.
So we have a proposal on the table. You want to make any amendments about maybe deferring it or something?
No, because I think the proposal was that provision was made for the equipment rather than a specific set of equipment at this stage.
Can I suggest an amendment? Is that?
It has to be in keeping, just because you know if that's...
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Yeah.
Kick me if I'm doing something online. No, going back to my previous point, is actually I think we need to have some kind of reason to allocate this money. So my amendment would be that we defer this, but with someone coming back with some kind of engagement around the village to suggest that this is needed. I'm out of line there on. I can't. Yes, fine. Just.
It's a little bit too far on the amend, so amend has to can change the odd word. Council can decide to
You mean that wasn't
defer.
just the odd word?
Council can decide to defer.
That's fine. Scrap that.
Sorry, John.
Right. Yeah. I agree with your point. I see your point. I think that there's no evidence, as far as I can see. I look at the YouTube videos that Sean does, and easily 3, 4, 5 or some people have seen it. I don't think there's a massive demand for it. I agree in principle that people might become engaged, but I mean, we'll be spending 6,000-7,000 quid on something that in 6 months' time we might think that was a waste of money because nobody's actually engaged, nobody's actually watched it. So I think I've been trying to sort of agree with Ian that until we've got evidence that people want to see it, then we'd be throwing good money away. So are you making an actual proposal? Is that
If I'm allowed to.
Well, you could propose that we defer it, if that's what you're...
That would be my proposal.
Until we've got evidence that this is... And if that's carried as a proposal, it's a counter proposal, so the substantive amendment that the proposal it falls, but it's deferred for further evidence. Is that clear? Yeah.
Sorry, Joe, it's not clear to me. What would my instruction then? So if we're deferring it to find out
So
if
that
it's popular...
Andy would or somebody would come back with a proposal that said we've had 400 people requesting...
So it would be for the councillors?
It would be for the councillors to do some kind of
so that's what
evidence gathering that it was a requirement, because we would have to justify spending that £6,000. So we've got an amendment, another proposal, and a seconder that would defer this one until it's a fuller proposal with evidence that people want the parish council to spend this money on getting this video. Is that clear? Yeah. Okay. So can I take a show of hands on the amendment?
to defer, yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. A show of hands on against that. So abstentions. 4 abstentions. So the amended proposal that we defer this proposal until more evidence that it was required.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. So that does go back to Andy to bring it back at a later date with evidence. If that's what he chooses to do.
yeah, and maybe, other quotes that might, like you said, are cheaper ways to do it, maybe. Okay. 17. To receive and consider correspondence from residents regarding community matters. 17.1 is a request for free room hire for a charity event. And that's, I think you've got the information.
Yeah, sorry, this was a verbal update. So, obviously, without discussing names for data protection in the public section, there was a lady that's recently moved to the village with her son. She emailed all councillors and a few who forwarded it on to me. Her son has disability, and what she does is she does fundraising events to help support with additional care that's not funded through the NHS. The family moved to the village about a month ago and met with them here at Bow Lane. They are looking at this moment in time to potentially hold something around Halloween. She hasn't sorted all the details yet, but the request to council is, can she use a room which is available at the time, free of charge basically. So the request is for free of charge room hire for a resident that is fundraising for her son who has additional support needs that's not funded through the NHS.
Okay, I think we've all seen we've all had the email from this person, so can I propose that we allow her to use the room? Second by email. All those in favour? That's everybody. Thank you. 17.2 to review a request for an earlier assessment on the village green trees over concerns of storm damage. Do you want to take this one or do you need to?
It's literally as it's written in there. So this is a resident that's emailed in. The village green trees, they are a subject of debate quite often for myself as clerk. We have, so if anyone's wondering, Village Green outside St Cuthbert, you've got some residential houses that are obviously opposite the Village Green. The trees are large, so if any of you have been there over the weekend and looked at the trees, they are very, very tall trees. Previously, the request was slightly different when it went through Environment Road Safety for the councillors obviously that were present at that. It was more so about the light that was blocking and potential interference with the telephone lines. The instruction for myself was to check if BT would go out and remove some of the branches, which they wouldn't. It was resolved at that time and recommended through to council that we leave it for the tree inspection, which is due January. Since then, we've had obviously the latest storm. We've had Mike's tree, as we discussed earlier, that's literally not far from there, that fell down and hit the car, and obviously the lamppost. The resident in question that's written that, obviously the name's not on there again, just so it's viewed as it is. They are worried that our branch in particular has obviously become dead and it is dislodged. It's a walkway, it says it in there, it's dangerous. So the reason why I've not put it on ERPS and I've put it straight forward onto full council is from a safety point of view. With the assessment due in January anyway, it's to give the council the opportunity for me to pull it forward and instruct that assessment to go ahead a few months earlier, given the recent safety concerns with the tree that did fall in that area.
So can I suggest that as I will propose that we bring the planned January assessment forward if that's possible, or specifically on the trees on the green. They might not be able to do a January assessment because there's still leaves on the trees, and that makes a difference when they're doing a tree assessment. But if that's possible to do it on the green, then I suppose that we bring it forward as soon as possible. All those in favour of that? Thank you. 17.3 is the request for additional village defibrillator. Ian.
So, I've read this and there is already a defibrillator at the cricket club. So I'm unsure what they're asking about, to be honest.
I was quite unsure, which is why I just put it in.
So I propose that we write back and say that there's one at the cricket club.
Yeah, there's that.
There was one there.
Yeah, but I think I confirmed them the other day, so
Right.
we had it for the Pram Fest, so we know it's there and it's in use and
As well as I've been, but I thought,
So can we just
Well, it just seemed a bit
right back
super
to
from scale.
17 for?
Maybe, if they've got more different ways in the village of goods, if there's another location they can think of
Yeah.
that hasn't already got one, then we'd be happy to reconsider.
Yeah.
yeah, can you do that, Chancellor? That's few days. Down the bridge.
And then
I'm going to suggest that if there is anywhere, it's somewhere that's very visible all the time.
okay, 17 for is to receive a complaint and support in communication with Wakefield District Council regarding the lack of progress on bench refurbishment and waste facility near the zebra crossing on Wakefield Road. I think you've been in correspondence with the...
I have, yes, am I okay to just
Yeah,
address
yeah.
that sort? So I have included the picture because the lady that lives at the house where that bench is, she actually came in last week. I did feel for her, to be honest. It is a constant battle that she's having because of the takeaway shops and people sitting on the bench and there not being a bin there. That's her front garden there, she keeps that. She's been to the meetings before, she's a member of the community that takes pride in the village and pride in the area. She did share with me that, and I'm not speaking ill of Councillor Raymond Massey, but post-meeting where it was discussed, he sort of confirmed that he would look into a bin and look into the refurb, but she doesn't feel it's progressed. So this isn't technically a parish council item, it is a district councillor. I'm only going off what she's told me, I don't know if it's true, I can see your hand going. It's more so about us supporting our resident that doesn't feel that she's getting anywhere with Wakefield Council. So the reason why I put it on the agenda again and not put it through to village amenities is I would like instruction from the council to be able to raise this with district to help support her to get an outcome basically.
Well,
That's up to John.
before the crossing there was a bin at the side of the bench, and moving it further down. So possibly if we get one in front of the table,